Okay, this one here we're putting a reed valve in it. We're going to check out our cam gear here. See how that is. I don't really need to lube this, but screw it. I don't like putting anything in dry. Okay, that does not rotate, it just sits in there, so I'll put one so it blows straight out. I can put it in the middle where both will blow out. I'll put it in the middle where both blow out.
Once that's set in there, that's it then, right? It's not going to...
It's free to turn if it wants to, but it doesn't, it shouldn't really be moving there.
You want to explain to the audience how that works? Or do they know?
Probably don't know about it. It's a reed.
Okay, well, you know, they're used to the breather gear. This is a little
I'm
bit...
not used to anything.
Well, this is the latest and greatest.
So it has a reed valve in there, see how it flaps up. So whenever there's a positive pressure inside the lower end, it opens and relieves the pressure from the gear, from the flywheel cavity over the gear cavity. And then when the pistons go back up, the reed closes, and that will draw a vacuum over there where the pistons are going up. And that will suck the oil out of your top end, out of your oil holes down here. It'll pull a big vacuum and suck all the oil out of your top end down in.
And a little bit less drag on the motor, one more or less moving part.
Work better when there's a vacuum on them too, so when the motor fires, there's actually a vacuum under the piston ring, so it's every inch of vacuum you got off the bottom, you got a couple pounds of pressure on top that you don't have to make the ring seal. So it makes the ring seal better too. But it also makes the motor not wet sump as much, it blows more oil out of it because it's working better. So anyway, I use them. They're S&S says don't use them on anything before 93, but it's a Harley, they're all the same. I run them on knuckleheads, they work fine. Doesn't make any difference.
Why do they say that, anything before 93?
Because that's the stock application for Harley.
Uh-huh.
I don't pay attention to what Harley says, I don't care. If they knew what they're doing, they'd sell a lot of bikes, wouldn't they?
They still sell a lot of bikes.
Yeah, I guess they're doing something right then.
Yeah.
Don't know why people are buying them, but whatever. It helps to put this washer in there for you.
Yeah, you'd think.
We gotta check our shim there too. See, I'm off a tooth now. So this mark is not being used anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to use that mark. Okay, this cam here is a crane cam, but we do not have the indexable gear on this one. If you want to put indexable gear on, I have those, and you can change advanced retard them 5 degrees or something if you want to play with them. But not needed. What we got's working fine. Okay, there's our gasket. I'll go ahead and put this on there and check our final clearances here. We did a rough mock-up earlier, but this thing just slipped right down like it's supposed to. I'm not used to that doing that good. Okay, I only got 2 longer screws here, so now we got a lot of area for a screw here. More thread engagement. Okay. 2 long ones, and we got that one short one. Okay, so that's our mix of screws now. Make sure you screw all the way down without being tight. Yep, that one went in fine. Obviously that went right on down, no problem. You want to make sure your holes are cleaned out. If you got to force a screw in, you're probably going to break the case, or the threads are bad. Okay. Motor turns over, that's a plus.
No drag.
Got a little bit of in-play in there, not too bad. I like 8 to 12. That's got at least that much in there. I took out 5,000 from what it was earlier. Okay, now we're going to listen for backlash. That's backlash in the teeth, going like this. I'm just taking my finger and pushing up and down. So you hear all that noise? So this is going to be a little bit noisy running. So that means you either got to put a bigger cam gear on it or a bigger pinion gear to get rid of some of this clearance. There's a lot of clearance in there. So turn the motor over a little bit, see if it's consistent. So you have them, it's consistently going to be, it's all even all the way around. If the gear was not concentric or the shaft was bent, it would change on you. So So I actually have a gauge that goes on here, can tell you what the clearance is, but that's pretty loose. So you hear all that noise?
Mm-hmm.
So you can have that noise when it's running. It's going to sound like loose valves. Because what happens is with the lifters, see you got two lobes right here?
Mm-hmm.
Come over here. See how those two loops are going together? So that means you got two valve springs pushing at once.
Bless you.
So when you click it around, when it goes over center, it'll go push and push the other way. And that lifter is coming up on this side over here, the lobe's coming up. So it goes back until it hits that other one. So it actually reverses the direction on you while you're driving. And that will make a lot of noise in the system.
How noisy do you think it'll be though with
This
that?
one here does the same thing. See how it comes up?
Yeah.
It'll drop over center. Those two are coming up, so those are going to be overriding this one, so it probably won't make much noise in this one. But when these two go over center and they both push down, they will overcome that other one, and it will go click, and you get that clicking noise. Like I said, it sounds just like loose valves, because that's the noise.
And you don't have any larger pinion gears?
We have to play around with the fit if you want to.
Mm.
So you play around cam gears, or you change around pinion gears. So if you want to play with that, we can do that.
Well, how much in a reduction of noise would that be result?
Well, if you do it just right, there won't be any noise. If it's too tight, it'll whine a little bit. If it's too loose, it'll rattle. It's like loose valves.
Do you have any pinion gears?
Right now, it's going to be loose. And you have no idea what that's going to be until you put it together like this and check it.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know if the cam gear is small or if the pinion gear is small. Pinion gear is used, but it didn't look that used. So what we have to do is pull it all apart and then we'll see what we got to work with.
Worst case scenario, I can live with it, you know.
It'll run just fine no matter what, it just makes a lot of noise. So it'll still run just fine. So all we gotta do is take this off. And we got to measure that, which is gonna be hard to do right now because it's assembled, so most likely we have to take it off to measure it. Now we can go ahead and measure this one here and see what this is. Go look in the book and see what that is relative to a standard. And we can see if there's a different one available. I have a bunch of gears laying around. Where's my? There it is. Okay, here's my checking pins. Okay, so this one here is 105 thousandths diameter, so that's for late 77 and up, which is what this combination of parts is. This is 108 thousandths, 3 thou bigger, and that's for your 54 and earlier, or 90 and later. So then we're back to it. So we're using this one here, which is our normal one to use. This is normal Evo stuff right here. So you take that. Put your pins in here like this, and you get a measurement across the top, and then you know what you got. So I gotta grab a mic real quick so I can measure that. Now usually when you do this, you can be one tooth to the other. You know, you can be one tooth, you can be over here, you can be over here. And one is closer than the other. So you got to check them in both spots to see where you're at. Okay, that's about 10 3/4 on the dial. Move it over one tooth. A little bit less, so this is the one we're going to use, that one there, which is the first one I put it on. Looks like there's going to be about a 4 or 5 thou difference. We're a little bit bigger than we were. Okay, so we're about 10 3/4 on that. So you measure that out, we're at 85 3/4. 1.78 or 2.785 3/4. So you go grab the book and you read it. You read the parts book or the service book. So we pull out the 87 book here and see if they give us the information in here we need. It doesn't look like they're going to talk about it at all. No, see, they're only going to talk about the pinion gear teeth. 20. Yeah, so they're using set of gears match, but you don't know a match until you put together what you need. Okay, so I'm going to go grab some gears. I'm going to measure them up and see if we come up with something a little bit bigger than we got.
Yeah, if not, then I'll just let it be.
Okay, we'll be back.
Want me to shut it off or keep it rolling?
Up to you. Okay, we measured the cam gear. And the multi-index is the same size. This one, Andrew's gear, is about 2 3/4 thou up. These other ones are within a thou of all these other ones. So this is our biggest cam gear. The pinion gear is a lot easier to change. So this is the biggest one they make. This is an orange. That's the biggest size they make. So we're just going to pop off this one real quick. And then we'll put that on there and see real quick what we need to do. You got to put something in the crank to protect it. And when you pull her on that. Use a standard 2-jaw puller. Sock it up. What do you do with it? There it is. Sometimes you tap with a steel hammer if it won't pop off. Okay, that one came right off. Make sure your key is still in there where it belongs. Doesn't take long to do a swap, does it?
A lot easier than pressing the cam gear off.
Well, now you have to time it, so it's
yeah.
Yes, doing it. Of course, the pinion gears are more expensive, so.
Nothing's cheap on a Harley.
Saves you time by doing it, but it costs more. So.
Time is money.
Yep, either way you pay. Okay, so it's lined up where it belongs now. Got our gasket on there. A little bit tougher going on. Good. Spot. There. It still slides, so that means it's not too tight.
tighter.
Noise went away, see?
That's what I want.
A little bit of it right there, see? It's tight there. So the gear is slightly out of concentric. See, it's tight. A little bit loose right there. Quiet. But the cam still slides real easy. See, there's no drag on it, so it's not too tight, but you're not getting a clicking noise. I'm taking my fingers going back and forth like that. Alright, so that's a good upgrade there to get rid of noise.
Yeah.
But that's $125 gear or something.
What?
Yep.
It's only money.
So it's up to you how much you want to get rid of noise. But that does take care of it.
Yep. You already installed it? Yeah, leave it.
Well, that comes right back off.
Yeah, that's all right. That's.
I only got one left. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You want my last one? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's the pile.
At least you don't have to put lapping compound on there and.
No, it wasn't like the last one.
Yeah, like that one.
Jeez, that was a pain in the ass. Never had to do that before on a big twin. Okay, so now we got all that figured out. So we go ahead and put the seal in here. And goop this thing all up. Get everything lubed up. Put it together. Now you want a multi-index gear?
Nah.
Got a bunch of them.
I'm happy with the gear I got on the cam.
I'm down to my last 200.
Oh, wow.
All that stuff I got from Cran, I got stacks of them this long in tubes. There's 3 boxes full of them things. I don't know how many is there, but I'm not running out this week. I got I think a lifetime supply. They're not marked for different sizes, so I have to actually go measure them and
Oh, that'll be fun.
see if they're all the same size. There's variable sizes. It'd be nice if there's some variables, but I'm not going to hold my breath for that happening. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so we don't need this then if you're happy with it.
Yeah.
So get this stuff out of the way. Okay, now we got to put the seal in here. So there's our seal. So that just pushes on into there. So as you use a pushing tool. That's never good.
What's that? Too late now.
Listen, not too late yet. That was the first pull. You put the smaller one in there and push it all the way down below the surface. There you go. Grab it. You don't want your gears running dry. That's cam. Or a lubricant. Lube up everything. Okay. Is that where that goes?
Line up the dot?
Yeah. Does it look good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you gotta turn it around to the so up to where you can see it. How close am I?
You're off.
How much?
A few teeth.
More than
You're
a
going
few.
by that dot right there, then, right?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Which one do you go by? Oh, that dot. Okay.
I'm way off.
That other dot's for the breather gear, then, right?
Correct. See? Dot
There,
line,
that's the dot.
and that dot's for here, which doesn't
Yeah.
matter anymore.
Don't matter.
But it wouldn't matter if you're not on it.
Yeah.
The other thing is look at the keyway. If the keyway's straight up and down, you're pretty close.
Okay.
So if you're lined up to that dot and the key is now centered, it's way over here, you're off by a tooth. I mean a whole mark, not a tooth. You're off by about 5 teeth. And I'll guarantee it will not run very good in that position.
Yeah. That's for sure.
You'd be lucky if it even farted. And yes, I have seen people do that. More than once. That one guy kept doing about 6 times in a row, same thing.
Really? Just couldn't figure it out then, huh?
He wouldn't. He said he's doing all right. And every time he come over and explained what was why it wouldn't start, I go, "What's the problem? Point plate's way out of whack and all that. That's your first sign it's off."
Yep.
And then he keeps telling me how he does it. And I said, "Okay, well, go check the marks again because you're not right." He just couldn't seem to get it to work. I don't know why. He said all the right stuff, but he just didn't do the right things. So after a month or so, he finally figured it out. And then it actually started up and ran. Imagine that. Lots of lube. When gasket cinch, you got to get all 4 surfaces have to be gooped up. Okay. Know what I forget?
The spring. I was waiting.
The one that's over here?
That's right.
Right where you left it? Where I left it?
Yeah.
I don't forget that. Now, if you don't have the motor like this, you put a little dab of grease in there and hold it in. We don't need to do that. It's nice,
Voila.
doesn't it? You like that? Slipped together like it was made for it.
Considering all the trouble you've had with.
Yep. Okay. Now we gotta torque it.
You don't need no stinking torque wrench.
God damn it. You don't? Thought that was a torque wrench.
Your hands are your torque wrench, right? You just go by feel.
Yep. When it quits moving, it's tight, right?
Yeah.
And after you warm up a few times, you retorque them. Okay. Cam still moves. That's too tight.
Get out the lapping compound.
Yep. So a little bit drag in there from the oil, but it's turning. It almost comes back up in flywheel weight. Comes up a little bit. If it was a little bit warmer, it'd probably work. Okay, so that's working good.
That's sweet.
Okay, so now we go ahead and put the
Lifter blocks.
in there. We'll grab those. So these are the Evo lifters. I usually clean everything all up, but S&S cleans everything out and re-lubes them and checks them. So they have their own lube on there right now. And they're double sealed, so you don't have to worry about any dirt or anything in them. So I actually put those in the way they are. One of the few things I do that with. Okay, where is my super goop? Now these are our conversion blocks. So they're for shovelheads, but they take Evo components.
So it's basically an Evo motor that looks like a shovel.
Getting closer. There isn't that much difference to begin with.
Yeah.
One of the big things is the lifters, and we just change that. One step closer. The cranks are all the same. There's no difference there. Actually, shovel cranks are better than Evo cranks.
So you could use a shovel crank if you're rebuilding your Evo motor.
Yeah. Anything from 1970 to 99 was interchangeable. If you change all the parts. You have to change the cam gears and the oil pump gears to match. But as long as you change them out of the unit, they'll work. But you will have some problems with the later cranks because the snouts are a 1/4 inch longer, so there are some fitment issues on the when you put the late crank in the early model. You have to cut that pinion bush in back at least 1/8 of an inch minimum deeper. So, or you got to trim the nut a little bit. You do a little bit of both. So it's not exactly 100% swap out, but they'll physically work. And the later one, you can put the short snout in there when it doesn't really hurt it. Just run half the pinion shaft length in the bush and make a deal. Still works.
Well, thank God it's not like a twin cam crank that's going to scissor on you.
Well, they still move.
And not like the twin cams.
Yeah. They'll still move because if you put the same load to it, they'll move just as much. The thing is, with a smaller motor, you don't have that same load. It's different. Remember, they keep making these motors bigger and bigger and bigger, and they're not making the lower ends any stronger. So, at some point, you have problems. But I can actually tighten the nut up more than I can on a press fit. So the aftermarket bolt together cranks are stronger than the press together ones.
Have you ever reworked a twin cam crank where you weld it together after?
No, I don't weld them. It weakens the hell out of them. And it's a throwaway at that point anyway. But they're pretty much throwaways anyway. But when you weld a crank, all your strength is in that bead. If your bead has any kind of a crack in it or it's not very deep, it'll be weaker because the when you put the heat in the flywheel expands because it weakens it. So it expands out and then it stays expanded out. So you lose that press fit. The press fit's what's holding it together. So if you lose that, ball game's done. I had a video there where I press apart them weld together cranks, and they come apart with 12, 13 tons of pressure. The best Harley crank I had, it took 24 tons to take it apart.
Wow.
Basically double the pressure. Now this block's not going in because it's hitting on that nut. So we're going to have to do some modifications to something over there. Unlike the shovel, it doesn't matter how the lifter goes in here. But you want to make sure it goes in freely, not doesn't bind up.
Have to get the old grinder out then, right? Grind a little.
I might be able to turn the nut a little bit. Depends on where it's hitting. It looks like that's not really a problem. So probably take a little ear off. Socket here. It's a 12-point socket. So little dinky little bastard. 1/4 inch 12-point. So you go down until it hits and you back off. 1/8 of a turn.
You don't have to use that tappet block alignment tool.
That's a joke.
So they're really not necessary then.
There's no machinist in the world will ever indicate off the thread hole. That is not an indicator. If it was that important, it would be down.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I got all the screws all the way down, but they're loose. See, you got a little clearance. Just like the oil pump, you put it right in the middle, lightly torque that one, and go 180, do the other one. So there's my alignment tool. It's called Use Your Brain.
Well, okay.
Instead of using one hole, I'm using all 4 holes as the alignment fixture.
Yeah, I'm just curious because I've seen them tools that you have. And
I have brand new. You want to buy one?
No.
Okay. I probably have a couple in the drawer someplace, but I can't remember the last time I ever used one.
Until you found out that's not necessary, right?
Well, I found that out. I never did have the tool I used factory. I just always didn't use them.
Well, that slip right down.
Gets just right. But it is close.
Yeah.
It definitely didn't give you any extra room there. Now, I like 12 points better than Allen's because Allen's full of water and turn to rust.
Yep.
Points have a nice shiny top to them, so you get a little bit of flash. You can actually see a little bit of that chrome. Unlike an Allen, which you barely see anything. See an Allen, you barely see any of the chrome.
Yeah.
And that'll turn to rust on the inside. That one, you got a nice chrome thing on top. Okay, same deal. Moving back and forth a little bit. Okay. So through, make sure it turns freely. And you go ahead and see if you can break them.
Until it snaps.
Some screws do snap when I torque them. They're not very good screws. Would you rather have me break them now or break them later?
Neither.
Neither. I see that one I can't even get to anymore because that nut's in the way. So which way does that need to go? See, I'm jamming into the block. I got to do that to get the wrench in there.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can torque it. So that's a pretty tight squeeze. So you actually need to probably knock some corners off the blocks a little bit. So before you paint it next time, knock that ear off.
That's right.
Okay. Just make sure it all goes up and down. See how the lifters go down with gravity?
Yeah.
So if you're getting kind of binding on them, that's no good. If you want to check your cam timing, split overlap, see how they're equal right now?
Mm-hmm.
The rod should be almost straight up and down the center of the hole.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you know your cam timing is pretty damn close if you're in doubt about it. Same thing, look for the lifter about equal. Rod should be pretty close to the center of the hole. This one a little bit better. Whoop. You gotta look at how far down they go. See, that one goes a lot lower than this other one. So it's pretty equal right there. They're about equal. And the rod is slightly in front of the center, but it's close. That means you're pretty close. So, that way you know you're not way out in left field someplace.
Yeah.
Alright, so there's your lower end all buttoned up. If we had ignition there, we could put it in and time it right now.
Do you have it? Or you got to order it?
It's coming.
Okay.
The box shelf is empty, isn't it? Yeah, somebody sold everything. They're all empty. It'll be here a couple more days.
Well,
A couple days will be in. Anyway, so now we gotta put the top end on next. So the cylinders and heads are, the cylinders and pistons are done.
so you can put them on and then
But the
call
heads,
it.
I haven't done the heads yet, so we can either stop right now, which looks like a good time. It's 10:30.
Okay.
So we'll